All right. Well, we try all the time to get the best names in the world on another wrestling podcast. Today is no different. The often outspoken and incredible Enzo. I am just at a loss right now. I can't believe we got you.
Oh, come on, man. I'm not that unaccessible. I do meet and greets, around in the Northeast territory. And if you ever come on out to one, I'm sure you'll get to meet the Eric. That's my name. But the stage presence formerly known as Enzo Amore. Quite a character. On Instagram, you can follow me at Real One, and Twitter. Known to put the wrestling world in a tizzy, but it's all fun and it's all love. So happy to be here.
Well, thanks so much. And just right off the bat, I heard a little bird just said something. But what's going on for you today? What are you doing today?
I'm in the studio, new. I'm steadily working on some music, working on some different projects, man, with some incredible people. Shout out my buddy Tommy Puzo with the Duce podcast, Title, Rock Nation. So I'm out here working with. I'm in the same booth as Mary J. Blige. So this booth that I'm in has been blessed, and this microphone's been blessed by the likes of Memphis Bleak and Mary J. Blige and the Wu-Tang Clan. So it's a cool vibe out here, and I'm just working on some pop music, man. Not necessarily really hip hop, but some pop type music. It's a different wave, man. I've never wrote it, but music is new to me too. So it's fun, and I think that challenge and change are one and the same, and I embrace them both. So.
Well, I mean, it's no surprise really that you're still in the entertainment industry. It would be probably very easy to realize that you were born and bred for this sort of thing. So, being a part of the music industry and just still kind of being a part of the wrestling industry, what are the similarities and maybe some of the things that are different about those two businesses?
Uh, I mean, pro wrestling was a dream come true. I kind of stumbled upon it, but music is something that I was born into. My dad's a DJ, so he'd be making his mixes. He used to sell action figures at like Comic Cons and like comic books, and he was a big collector of comic books and toys. And he used to make, he DJ'd weddings, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, sweet 16s, quinceañeras, corporate events, you name it, New York City. So I was just constantly, picking up speakers by the time I was 12, 13, trying to help my dad with a bad back and then, hitting the play button. But little did I know when I was, in the room with him and he was talking to 250, 300 people in a room on a microphone that I was learning a skill that, inherently I didn't even realize was a skill. I just kind of ended up, learning. I do believe you're a product of your environment, and when you're out there doing the YMCA, leading the crowd when you're 13 years old, and the electric slide, and the Cupid shuffle and cha-cha slide, you name it, I rode the wave all the way until I was 18, and I went away to college. And every time I came home in the summers and the winters, I was DJing. So, I never had, really had much of a real job. I just, I DJed on the weekends, and I was a mover during the week. I worked on a moving truck with all my homies from high school, and I was kind of letting my writing degree from college go to waste, and there was really not much of a need to be a writer when, it was tough. I don't know if people remember, but in 2010, if you graduated college, trying to get a writing gig was not easy, man. There wasn't many writing gigs. I was going to interviews in New York City, trying to get my foot in the door to help, write some television or write, I had a direction I wanted to go, some journalism. And then I, started making some YouTube videos. One of those videos ended up on, in the hands of Triple H, and I got a tryout in the WWE. It was in Barstool, and it was kind of going viral on Barstool. And, I've been blessed with opportunity, in the WWE. It's something that, like, I work with guys, man, who, like, I would learn about this as So a guy leaves home at 18 years old, like Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn or Adrian Neville, for instance, as the world knows them. My best friend in wrestling for a while was, Pac. These guys leave home at 18 years old or 16 or 15 with a dream to be a pro wrestler that is, obscure in the world's point of view and deemed as, nearly astronomical to say, okay, I want to go be a pro wrestler and hold a title in the WWE or WCW for a different era. It's just, it's like saying you wanted to go win a World Series. I just know that I was working with guys when I got blessed with this opportunity by chance that left home to pursue this dream when nobody thought that they could do it. They made names for themselves and started putting food on the table and making money for themselves and having a real job that they could feed their family, their wives, formulate income, buy a home, get themselves opening other doors and opportunities through this world that people love. And I loved as a youth, make no mistake about it. I was in Madison Square Garden, every single time there was a show there. My parents either had to lie about it, because if I found out, because I had 17 cousins, somebody was going and I was getting there. So, I just, as you get older and you want to do that thing at 18, but your dad's like, okay, kid, like, you got an opportunity to go play college football. You got to go do that. So I just, went to the school that John Cena went to because I wanted to be a pro wrestler. And we went to the same college, and I just didn't know how you become a pro wrestler. And it just fell in my lap. I got lucky with it. I met a guy named Big Cass who formerly already knew who I was from watching Barstool Sports and YouTube, and he thought that I was money, and he believed in me from the beginning. And so, when he believed in me, I was nothing or nobody when I walked through the door of the WWE, and he allowed me to, potentially be his manager. In pro wrestling, that's a guy who's been in the business for a year in WWE, and I have no experience. So the things that I learned from the relationship with Big Cass, how to act, who to talk to say, and all the way to the top, he gave me invaluable knowledge about the business as I was learning it firsthand in a way that nobody probably ever got thrust into the spotlight before ever. Because remember, the same night that I debuted on TV, NXT, I was supposed to be fired, was the same night that John Cena asked me to go to the ring with him when the cameras were not rolling. And I spelt out soft with Big Cass. We said, how you doing? And then, from there on out, the crowd just started saying it and chanting it, and we didn't know what the fuck happened.
You were off to the races, that's for sure. And it's really, I feel like one of the things again is it's you kind of have it or you don't. So as a kid, growing up, you grew up in Jersey, right?
Oh, hell yeah, baby. South Hackensack, New Jersey. If you know the song, the Entertainer, Anthony's song. No, I'm sorry, Anthony's song. So by Billy Joel, he says in the song, who wants Anthony works at the grocery store saving his pennies for someday. Who wants a house out in Hackensack is that all you get for your money. My dad's name, Anthony. He met my mother at the grocery store, and I grew up in Hackensack.
That's incredible. Did you see this happen for you as a kid? Like, did you see yourself being like setting these goals to be an entertainer, or were you just as surprised as other people? That this is what happened. You said it's the odds aren't with you to become a very famous professional wrestler.
No, not when you're my size. I got lucky. There's been some guys that have paved the way, like that I idolized as a child. A guy like Shawn Michaels. I had a tattoo of his heart on the inside of my arm when I was a teenager. So the fact that I got the guy who trains Triple H called called his phone, and I was the only wrestling fan in the gym, and I was the only guy who knew who Paul Levesque was when my trainer got that phone call. And a year from that day, you know, making a YouTube video that went on Barstool Sports, went viral. I get signed after a tryout in front of Dusty Rhodes, cutting a promo. My life is a movie, just kind of waiting for somebody to, you know, come along and make the screenplay. I hope it happens in my lifetime. I don't know when it'll happen, but I'm just going to continue to hope, you know, that I continue to, you know, live a life that I've always dreamed of and always imagined. My fans afford me the opportunity and the blessing to still, you know, make enough money to feed my, you know, family, pay my bills, and live a dream so that, you know, I don't have to go back on the moving truck, which is something, you know, I said I would do if it ever came down to it. I am a prideful man, and there's certain I just won't do in this lifetime.
Well, you just mentioned it, maybe a screenplay about your life. Who would play you in that movie?
Oh, bro, dude, you know that this movie is waiting to be made. You gotta be honest with yourself. Nobody. I got a tattoo of a gym logo on my leg when I was 17. I was in Madison Square Garden when the Click broke kayfabe and had the curtain call. I was in Madison Square Garden when Diesel won the title in 8 seconds. I was in the Madison Square Garden, you know, for those moments. I ended up, you know, invading Madison Square Garden in you know, incredible fashion in the first show that was ran by a non-McMahon in 60 years. And, you know, it's just been a movie, and the ups, the downs, the opportunity of a lifetime when Joe DeFranco got that phone call from Triple H, and just that YouTube video that gave me an opportunity, and meeting Dusty Rhodes, and the coaches and the people and the places and the things and the timing from the WWE Network launch to NXT becoming a product, leaving for the first time ever overseas, and just riding that wave all the way through till the end at 205 Live, and getting fired on the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw, to invading Survivor Series, to the Madison Square Garden incident, the reuniting with Big Cass, and, you know, the ups and the downs and what we do from here. And, you know, I just refuse to let all of that is behind me define me now. I think that the first chapter is clearly over, and I'm on to the second, maybe the third. And it's just a beautiful blessing to have lived this storyline out, because I don't know who the hell is up there pulling these strings. I feel like there's some sort of, I'm a part of some Sims video game or something, dude. And somebody's just playing as me and having a field day. You know, I just can't call it, but I know that life has ups and downs that, you know, you can't always be prepared for, but you got to be able to embrace them. I think that life is a beautiful thing, and I refuse to let, you know, the hatred that is so often seen in today's world published 10 times over before you see the good that's published, whether that be on the internet, whether that be in social media, in the comment sections, tweets, you know, even mass media. You know, it's just a very, very, you know, terrible world at times that doesn't need to be. And I just hope that through incidents with, you know, my tag team partner, my former roommate, my best friend, and you know, I'm married to this man in our business. People can't understand what it's like to have seen the world the way we had to have seen it together, because we were there for each other through thick and thin, and you have to be able to have each other's backs to navigate through those shark-infested waters that is the world of pro wrestling. It is a crazy, crazy world, and I couldn't have done it without him. And I think he'd say the same about me. You know, we had a real-life fallout because I took a business opportunity, and he, you know, we had to start looking at life not so much as a friend, but as business partners. And when the world of pro wrestling can deteriorate a friendship and cause two people to not speak for 2 years, and then one falls so publicly, and there's an opportunity there to see that friend get back on his feet. I tell people often I was at an autograph signing where I saw Animal from Legion of Doom, and there was no Hawk, obviously. And I just thought to myself, this was before Cass had a seizure and fell and went down. I just thought, man, you know, I should reach out to that guy. It's a goddamn shame that, you know, right now he's, you know, I know he's not working for the company. I'm not working for the company, and I don't need a tag team partner. I don't want to be a pro wrestler right now. I want to find out how he's doing. And sure enough, when he called me, I knew that he wasn't doing good. And he explained that to the world, and he inspired so many other people to reach out for help, so many other people that fell as well, to know that it's okay to fall as long as you get back up, because anxiety, addiction, depression, those things are real. They're a disease. I've seen them affect my best friend in ways that are incomprehensible to many, and they were incomprehensible to me. And just because I can't relate doesn't mean that I can't understand. I had to learn to understand that this guy doesn't want to wake up in the morning, and that if he's drinking to literally take his own life. Because when you drink and you come off of that bottle, if you really try to quit that thing cold turkey, or you try to get off that addiction can kill you worse than perhaps any other one in the world. And I just know that because we see it so often at social gatherings, and it's on the corner of every store in every hood in America, that we see these bottles. I tell people, man, they put 99-cent malt liquor in 99-cent cans in 99-cent stores for 99-cent motherfuckers, because they don't want to see you succeed. They want you to be in a routine of drinking that 99-cent bottle and not changing the fucking world, all right? I want to change the world. I think that other people should aspire to change the world through happiness, lift each other up rather than tear each other down. I can do it all. If you want to get roasted, I'll roast you. But that's comedy. It's all in good fun, and so is pro wrestling. And I just want people to be able to distinguish entertainment from real life. And right now, you're speaking to Eric, and Eric saw a best friend fall. And you'll get tastes of the character Enzo anytime you're speaking with me. But let's just be real. When it comes to life and tragedy and suicide, people need to speak up, and depression is real, anxiety is real, and these things are diseases. And I do believe them to be mechanisms of a Western civilization and a society that, you know, tells you constantly that you're not good enough. And we are in a capitalism, you know, consumer society, where, you know, you want things that you don't need. You don't go out and buy a new, you know, T-shirt and a new pair of clothes so that you'll look better for yourself. You only want to look better for yourself because you want other people to feel good too. You want to feel better about yourself. And I think that it's time some people let go of that ego, let go of that self, have fun. That's what's beautiful about pro wrestling, when a 7 or 8-year-old child is enjoying the act that is Enzo Amore, and he's saying every word with me, and he's crossing his hands, and he's wearing my wig. That is what I aspire to do. I go out there and I make a child at 7 or 8 years old have a good time, and a father not think about the IRS, his bills, his wife, his marital issues. You know, he's not thinking about anything but the great time he's having with his son. And so let's, as pro wrestling fans, embrace that understanding. Know that the performers that are out there to entertain you, and not necessarily be torn apart and ripped apart at every second from the limb on social media or in the comment section. Let these people live their lives. Let them entertain you. Let them be the acts that they are. If you want me to blur the line between reality and you know, character, I can do that as well as anybody. But I think that it's time to let people see me for who I am, Eric, the person that you will always see and meet in real life and at meet and greets. If you should not approach me, put your fists up and say, "Do you want to fight?" No shot intended. As a matter of fact, I want to touch on that subject as I rant, and I just, you know, I'm good at answering all the questions, so you don't have to ask them.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
You know, Big Cass, before, you know, he did have an issue with you know, his depression, his anxiety. I don't know that these things were direct derivatives of, you know, the social media and the era in which I was just speaking of them, which we live in, where we should uplift each other. I'm just speaking to a guy who, you know, said to me recently that all he wants is to be happy. and that is his goal, and he doesn't know that he's ever been happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see that. I know that I've seen him happy. Maybe I think that he's just saying that because he doesn't remember that time because he's in such a bad place. And I can't relate to it, but I've seen him happy. I've been out there. I've felt the feeling, and I know it's real. I want to see him do it again. But, you know, these issues that he's dealing with are so real and so relatable. So many people are going through them. It's got to be an open forum. People got to be able to understand it. You know, it's okay to, you know, go out there and boo your favorite wrestler. You know, you want to bury him in the comment section. I got the thickest skin maybe in the history of pro wrestling. I could take it. Say whatever the hell you want about me. I've been through it. But you know what? Like, at the same time, if a guy comes out into the world and says, hey, listen, I'm going through this, but, you know, he did it in a Tyson Fury-esque fashion, and I do believe that he's going to come back from this one stronger than ever. I have the utmost confidence in him because he went out and sought the help. He got DDP involved, okay, some great people, you know, that really want to see what's best for him. You know, Brandon Mickles in New York City with Barry Bloom and DDP. You know, there's some people that are in the business of pro wrestling, you know, that have been through it, like Jake Roberts, that you know, when I go to DDP's place and I'm sitting there with Cass, I understand what he's going through because these people, they've been through it and they want to help him. So those people are uplifted by helping others. Okay? Make no mistake about it. The purpose of life should be you feel good because you help other people feel good. And that's what makes you who you are. That's what makes you feel good. So, you know, I want to see him get to that point. I hope he comes back out and inspires people. I hope that the world pulls for him. I hope that they write him the letters that, you know, I put up the DDP yoga address. Those letters are all getting forwarded to Big Cass that he's getting, you know, from fans that want to reach out that perhaps are going through the same thing he is, you know, have thoughts of taking their own life. You know, that I've never had that happen to me, so I can't relate to that. But I want to know what I can do to help and make sure that you live a long life, a great life, because you can't look up at posters of Enzo and Cass and think about it in an autograph signing, be an animal with no hawk. All right, I'm too young for that, and I got a run left in me in pro wrestling that I feel coming on, but I want to be there to embrace it with my best friend. So that's the goal. Make no mistake about it for people who wonder if I'm wrestling or if I want to wrestle. You know, I've been open to the opportunity to wrestle. I did say that I would never work for the WWE in a million years. I was standing on a football field, you know, in L.A. when TMZ asked me the question if I'd ever work, and I said, no, not in a million years, never. There ain't a promoter who ain't got enough money to pay me. I wasn't talking a shot at all promoters. I was saying I just thought that at that point in my life I was bitter and I was severing ties with the wrestling world because there was only one place to go and do it.
Yeah.
That was how I built it up in my mind. I built it up in my mind that way. And I said, if I ain't doing it there, I ain't doing it anywhere. All right? And it's over. I left with a title. I'm good. It was crazy. I can't believe it happened to me. I'm lucky. Now you have Big Cass go through his situation, and I get to watch him in a ring with John Moxley in Six Flags, who's, you know, taking this independent wrestling route and going to AEW, and the world of wrestling is on fire. And I'm standing there ringside with Big Cass and Ambrose, and there's nobody telling them how to perform their art, and that's what it is, art. And I just thought to myself, man, I've never done it like this because I learned everything I ever learned in the WWE. So I know how to do it as well as anyone, and I'd be stupid and, you know, reluctant to waste this time in my life as a young man who could still perform at the highest, you know, that ability. I'm in my prime right now. So if I ever wanted to go do it, you know, time is of the essence. I don't want to wait around forever. But I'm also, you know, now more understanding to the world of freedom that exists beyond pro wrestling. And that is what I want to just make and reiterate, that Cass's situation and my situation with him is about life and friendship and prosperity for, you know, him. I you know, they say it's lonely at the top once you get there. Well, people say that, you know, because, you know, they don't have good people around them. Okay. Mm-hmm. You know, I enjoyed the top with another guy, and we wanted to see other people who were in the ring with us do great business, wrestle, and come out of that ring feeling a high through pro wrestling with fans and energy by the 100,000 in arenas, with the other guys that you're in the ring with, where all is right in the world. I know that moment and that feeling exists out there, and if I gotta do what I gotta do to provide it with my best friend, I would love to. To me, man, there just ain't no point of enjoying shit if you ain't enjoying it with other people.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
You said earlier, you talked about, the negativity that's out there online and stuff, but there was definitely a story about a month ago about you going and surprising one of your biggest fans. And I definitely wanted to touch on that because I don't know how many people saw it, but it was one of those moments where you didn't do this for the publicity or anything. You went out and surprised a fan. And what do moments like that mean to you in the broad scheme of your career? Like, how do moments like this rank where you're able to go and change a life like you did?
I don't think it's crazy, man. To me, it's 10 seconds out of my day anytime somebody stops me on the street or whatever. And I live in New Jersey now, where I haven't been back here since I was 18 years old, really. I got out of college at 23, and I pretty much got signed to the WWE at 24. 32 now, and I moved to New Jersey this past year to be with my grandmother who was passing away, and I was living with her, and I got to spend the last 5 months of her life, by her side, and I wouldn't have had that time had I been in the pro wrestling world on the road 300 days. So it was valuable time that I got to spend with family and friends, and I know that home is where the heart is, and my home is right here in New Jersey. So I came home for the first time, and if I stand on the street on Boulevard East in New Jersey, out in Weehawken, West New York, the cops roll up, the fire department pulls up, the Department of Public Works, it's just all love out here. If I walk down the street, how you doing, Enzo? And I lived in LA. It's a different vibe, man. You just don't get it anywhere else besides the tri-state area, New York City, New Jersey. And this is the city that has me and Cass's back. I truly got embraced with love when I came out of an accusation that was proven to be false, and the world embraced me in New York City. People showed up in Times Square by the thousand, and I just couldn't believe the warmth, of a wrestling world. We are a culture. We are a huge fan base that transcends into other things, other communities, and that's why I think we're a strong enough world to have a voice, and people should, in this community, try to lift each other up as often as they possibly can when they fall, because the guys who are in the ring are taking major risks, and some of them are having major mental health issues in later parts of their career. And it's a lot of it, I do believe it to be induced by the pressure of that world, not so much the physicality. So let's make no mistake about it, it's entertainment, but it's all encompassing when you're on the road 200, 300 days in a year, in and out of the ring in different cities, opportunities to meet people. So that little girl, Destiny, that you're talking about is the reason why, I did what I did, at least. I can't speak for everybody, but I truly believe that in the WWE, when you make it to the top and you look around that locker room, there really isn't a dirtbag in a gimmick uniform in the room. Ain't nobody got face paint on who's an asshole out there. You know what I'm saying? It's just you got to kind of prove that you are a good person to get to the top. And I saw a lot of people touch a lot of lives, and you can do that through pro wrestling. And I think it's mandatory that I take the time to speak to fans every time I do a meet and greet. So, I oftentimes get to meet people, talk to them 5, 10, 20 minutes, and my line is a line that lasts a long time. I don't know how long it is all the time, but I know that it lasts a long time because I take my time to hear from people and just embrace the opportunity I've been given to speak to people. That's my favorite thing to do, is meet people and talk to them. You'll learn a lot about life. You learn a lot about yourself when you do that. So I met a little girl named Destiny because my mother's cousin, so my cousin Gerald, is a school teacher, and he said that, hey, there's this little girl, Destiny, and she loves Eric, and he reached out on Facebook and sent my mom a video of this little girl at the Prudential Center doing my entrance, and she's wheelchair bound, but she's an incredible little human with a heart of gold, and her name is Destiny. She lives in Jersey City. So I got her contact information, and I surprised her, and I frequently do that because I live around the corner. I live 2 towns away, so I keep in touch with her dad. Shout out to Juan. He's a big wrestling fan. He has a whole group of guys that talk about wrestling on a wrestling podcast. And this little girl, Destiny, I do believe she can have a job in the business of pro wrestling one day. So I aspire any child out there that, you know, whether you're wheelchair bound or you're upright and walking around, I hope that if you know there's jobs in pro wrestling that exist beyond the wrestling ring. You can do things on the microphone, on camera, backstage as a writer. And, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to a job in pro wrestling for myself in the future as a writer or, you know, somebody who plays a role behind the scenes, because I feel like I have a lot to give in the world of pro wrestling, and it doesn't necessarily need to be on camera at all times.
It's incredible because with you coming onto the scene, WWE and NXT, and even now, you know, whenever you go around and travel for wrestling, you definitely stand out, and it's something that's kind of difficult to do in professional wrestling because sometimes we think it's all been done before. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about is you are heavily tattooed, and you've got some that we know mean a lot to you. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of those tattoos, and if you've got plans to maybe get any more soon?
Yeah, you know, I was talking to Sammy from Inked Magazine about doing something when we could film it, because it seems like tattoos are a heavy area of interest amongst wrestling fans. So we share a lot in common in the world of ink and wrestling, apparently. But I know a lot of people's favorite superstars got some ink. I have some pretty iconic ink, I would, if I do say so myself. You know, I got the microphone tattooed on my hand. My father's a DJ, and he held that microphone. But I've gotten some tattoos post WWE career, and I'll focus on those. So new tattoos. When I got let go by the WWE, I immediately went and got the Thug Life tattoo that I had on my stomach.
Yes.
I never got Thug, you know. I just got Life. But I got half of Tupac's Thug Life tattoo, no Thug, and I went and wrote with a crayon myself with a marker. I wrote love, so Love Life. I wrote it with my own hand, and I just told the girl that was there, just tattoo right over what I just wrote on my own skin. So I got Love Life written on my stomach now. Completed the Thug Life. So Love Life, Tony written on my right knuckles with the New York Giants NY for the Tony, and a black heart, you know, for the O. And then I got Rose on the other hand, with a red O for the Rose. And then I got a money bag on my ring finger because I'm married to the money, you know what I mean? So Tony and Rose, that's my mother and my father's names. Then I got Hail Mary, written in my grandmother's handwriting before she passed away. She wrote a prayer out, and I took those words in her handwriting along with her lips that have been tattooed on my hand. And then I got the word real with, you know, my logo that I trademarked tattooed on my forearm. I got Biggie Smalls and It Was All a Dream tattooed on my elbow with the American flag because I got the bionic elbow now. You know, Dusty Rhodes played a huge role in giving me an opportunity, and I owed the world to him. And you know, I wanted to pay him a little tribute on my elbow there because I know his shit was bionic, and my shit's pretty iconic, the microphone hands. So I put Biggie Smalls in a Coogee sweater with the Statue of Liberty on his head, counting money underneath. It was all a dream with the American flag in my elbow. That's a new one.
Now, obviously, with so many tattoos, and I don't know when you got your first one, but do you have any tattoo regrets?
Oh, man, don't ask me a question so deep. You know what I mean?
Well, I
That's
do.
one of the
I'll
deepest
tell you
questions
that.
ever. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. Do I have any regret? No, Not really. I mean, I got no. I don't live regrets. I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. All right, I'm singing Frank Sinatra on the out, brother. I ain't got no damn regrets.
That's awesome.
Don't be asking me about my regrets.
Okay, you got it. You got it. Well, you also just touched on Dusty, and I put you up there, and I mean, it's all very it's kind of up to it's the eye of the beholder here, but I definitely put you top 5 on the mic of all time in professional wrestling, and who were some of your favorites on the mic, or who are some of your favorites still to this day that you really enjoy, listening to whenever you were in professional wrestling?
It's funny you say that, man. But by the way, thank you so much. That was very humbling. I don't put myself in the top 5, so I didn't have to do it like they did. But I've been watching a ton of like NWA, Mid-South, AWA, WCCW, and WCW promos, because I got all the videos converted onto a hard drive from a guy that I met, and he gave me everything in like a Microsoft Excel format, okay, that like tells you every episode of TV and like who wrestled and the date, right?
That's incredible.
So I've just been watching, and I'm watching like Chucky commercials and like crazy Mentos commercials from back in the day in between the wrestling matches. You know what I'm talking about? Like Burger King commercials where they're selling like toys for like The Simpsons. It's perfect, man. So I've been studying the craft as of late in hopes of running my own wrestling show. I'll give more details as to exactly if this is a 100% reality when I get those details. But I can tell you that I more than likely will be taking wrestling to the Sunset Strip on November 23rd at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, California, which will be the first time pro wrestling has been brought to the Comedy Store ever. And if you know about the Comedy Store with the likes of Jerry Seinfeld's name and Dave Chappelle and Richard Pryor written on the wall, Don Rickles, this is the stuff of legend. So if I actually end up with the blessing of being the first guy to run a wrestling show at the Comedy Store on November 23rd, we're going to do it in a big and different way. Going to make the show very unique. And I think we're going to take it back to its core roots, where you watch guys like Bruno Sammartino and Larry Zbyszko go out there and not talk to each other until they saw each other in the ring. So it's a different breed of pro wrestling that's old, it's fun, and I love to watch me some pro wrestling that's called on the fly.
That's awesome. So I know that you're super busy. You got all kinds of stuff going on right now. I just, I wanted to know a couple of things. Number one, how do you feel about the Giants this season?
Oh my God, bro. Well, coming off of this high right now with this Danny Jones, Mr. Jones, dude, Danny Dimes out here trapping dimes. I nearly broke my television set when he ran that touchdown in, but then I looked at the clock and I was like, there's 1 minute and 25 seconds left. They're going to drive right down the field and kick a field goal. Then the damn guy missed the field goal from like 35 yards out. Oh man, it was so perfect. I'm so happy to be, riding another wave of a new quarterback who seems to, be a stand-up dude out there, just being all about New York Giant football. Like he didn't fall far from the tree. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he could play Eli Manning in a movie about Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this guy. But you know what, man? Eli's my favorite player of all time. I think I put him above Derek Jeter as my favorite athlete ever, as a New York fan, man. And, damn, bro, I just wish Pat Ewing would have made that finger roll, bro. Cause I fucking love the Knicks, dude. The Giants spoiled me later in my life, but I'm good on those 2 Super Bowls. Like I'm good on my 2 wrestling championships, bro. I am good for life, dude. That is it, man. The fashion in which we won those 2 New York Giants Super Bowls. Eli Manning can, if he killed a man right in front of me, I'd ask him. I'd grab the shovel and ask him where the body needs to be. So that guy is good for life with me.
That's awesome. And again, we're getting you out of here, but just what's next for you? We know that you've got some music coming out, possibly doing a wrestling show. I think you're actually going to be here on the East Coast again for doing some wrestling here within a month or so, I think. But what else? What's left on Enzo's list? What do you got going on? What do you want to accomplish?
Well, for me, I think that people got to understand with pro wrestling that there's just not a part of me that kind of goes half-ass on anything and kind of goes into anything half-heartedly. If I got to do something, it's going to be wholeheartedly, and I got to put all of me into it. So I just have to see the right situation in pro wrestling where I could make some money, have a lot of fun, creative input, and be able to put and do good business. And I think that's the most important thing, understanding what it is to do good business, and being very choosy about when I want to do it. I've had an opportunity, to get out there in front of masses, and recently I did have a wrestling match at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center, and like I said, that was just opportunity and irony. It was a big time wrestling show with John Moxley, Pentagon Jr., Big Cass, Darby Allin, to name a few, David Arquette and Jerry Lawler and Booker T. It was just some people I haven't seen in a while, and good to get out there in front of the fans, because it was the same fans that came to watch me in 205 Live in my last match, which was in this very same arena, the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. So the Mid-Hudson Civic Center is a place I visited as a child to watch wrestling. It's a place that homed Monday Night Raw tapings back in the day, and it's where it hosted the 205 Live tour that I had my last wrestling match in the night before the 25th anniversary of Raw. So time was certainly, a factor in this. I took enough time away from pro wrestling to feel comfortable enough to say, hey, okay, I'm ready to get back in there and have some fun. And that's all this was me. Fun, I got in there with Brian Pillman Jr., and Brian Pillman was one of my favorite wrestlers. So it was just an honor and a privilege to get in there with his son, to give back to the business, in essence, by being able to learn from him, and him being able to learn from me. If I could have fun like that in the right situation at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center, once a month, I could see myself doing that forever. You know what I mean? I'd be Ric Flair at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. I have no problem with that, bro. Like I said, the situation's got to be right. The locker room and the people around me, I just have to feel these things out. And I've just recently gotten back into pro wrestling with Big Cass, but on a different level. Since he's gone away, and put himself in an environment where he's off social media, I'm in essence, still taking those bookings that he was booked on, making good with the business that we're doing with promoters, and getting out there and representing the both of us. And I'm doing it as Eric. So when you come to the meet and greet, you get to meet me, talk to me, and I grab the microphone before these events and I let people know, that depression, anxiety, and addiction are real things. They're a disease, and that rather than sit around, just all that I want to do is, the "How You Doing" campaign is real simple. It's just walk up to somebody and say, "How you doing?" And that question could spark, a million answers, and you never know how somebody's really doing. So I hope that people just really start asking the question, "How you doing?" and being genuine when they do so, because we need to be there for the people that we can't necessarily relate to, but we need to understand that they're dealing with demons that we can't we have to acknowledge, and they're real. And they might be repercussions from actions that were taken, in the wrestling ring, or the pressure of the world that they put themselves in. And nobody here is a victim. We're not claiming to be victims. We're just. I'm not saying that Big Cass is a victim. He is sitting here saying, "Hey, no, I'm not a victim. I'm like you." Okay, and some days it's difficult for me to get out of bed, and other days I don't want to be alive. And you know what? I know I'm having these thoughts, and people don't want to talk about it. But you know what? If I talk about it, maybe somebody else will too. And I know that he's inspired people because I'm so proud of him. I've been to the meet and greets with promoters Lombardi at NEW, which we've done in the Northeast, me and Cass recently over the few months. And he's met so many people that were inspired by him coming out of the closet, so to say, as a anxiety, depressant former addict who's trying to cure these demons. So he's having conversations with people that are deep, that are real, and people are inspired, and I see it, and I'm so proud of him for it. And I'm willing to open those conversations and try to put a smile on people's face when I can as well. And I never saw this scenario unfolding necessarily the way that it did. Me getting back into pro wrestling, for one, me and Big Cass becoming friends again, for two, now becoming business partners again, that friendship being the core foundation of seeing each other live our best lives. And I know, and he knows, that our best lives are out there in front of those people, because that is where we are at our best. And I appreciate the people that afford me that opportunity. Any promoter that gives me a microphone and lets me speak on, these demons that Big Cass is, facing. And, just people that, I haven't gotten an opportunity to get out there in the indie scene before I was a pro wrestler, in the WWE. Now that I have, I see such an incredible world. And I don't necessarily, I don't necessarily say that I'm getting in the ring on these indie shows, but I'm more than happy to be a part of this world, embrace it, and help people when I can.
Well, we want to thank you so much for coming on today, and it's really a big deal for us. You mentioned it earlier. You've got an Instagram. Where can people keep up with everything that's going on in your life?
You can follow me at Real1REAL1. Listen to my music, Real1REAL1. Album just came out, Born in New Jersey. It's got an ode to Bruce Springsteen on the cover. Got an American flag, born in the USA, vibe. And I got, some records out there with Bellis, Smoke DZA, and I'm working on some pop music right now. So get ready for the wave. And pro wrestling, keep your eyes wide open for, some 7-footer that's, is going to be, gone for a little while. But, I know the world of pro wrestling will embrace him with arms wide open when and if he ever decides to come back out and embrace that world that loves him. We thank you for his support. And I just want to thank everybody who listens to my music, affords me the opportunity to, put food on my table, live a life in entertainment, which, they tell you so often as a child is impossible. I want you to know that you can, put a home, and a roof over your shoulders, that you can put food on your plate if you're a little kid and you want to be a pro wrestler, or you want to be a musician, or you want to be a comedian. All of these things are attainable, and more importantly than anything, you can do all of them. You don't have to do one. So, focus up, get good at one, master it, figure out something else, challenge yourself. Change is challenge, and I'm blessed with that right now. So I'm having a good time getting out there in the world, and I do believe that I'll be taking stages in music in some big ways, and with some big opportunities coming my way. And I'll continue to write and pen these movie scripts and these treatments and get them in the hands of the people, hopefully, that can make them a reality. Doesn't necessarily mean that I need to be reflected on the screen, but I'm a writer, and that is where I excel. And I aspire any young pro wrestler that's out there in the world to start writing heavily. Anytime that one of your friends makes you laugh, write their joke down and steal it from them.
Well, again, thank you so much. I wish you and Cass both the best, and anytime that you are around, you are more than welcome to be on here. And again, thank you for your time.